1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Hey guys.
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Good morning, guys. I'm James Hake of the Hake Report. It's Thursday, July 18th, 2019, and you can call in 888-775-3773. I appreciate it. 888-775-3773. And I'm trying to figure out ways to say it so that I don't sound like Jesse, because I tend to... People are like, you sound like Jesse. Whatever. So I was challenged, speaking of talking like Jesse, to go a week without talking about black people. And by a guy who's called into the show. He's nice. And it is White History Month. So maybe I'll give it a whirl. He promised he would donate to my channel if I do that. So I'll let Jesse keep telling the truth about all people to everybody. And I'll just talk about whites and non-black POCs. Because POCs has started to include other people other than blacks, if I can help it. So I'm starting today. Here goes. I wanted to mention about Antifa, but first I want to talk about just whites in general, because it is White History Month, and we are going to be history if we don't turn ourselves around. And it's more than just ideological. It's more than just knowing facts. It's more than just even policies, the right policies. Like, one time Jesse said, if we don't rebuild men, it doesn't matter if we get a Republican in office, like President Trump, rebuilds businesses, brings back jobs, sends the illegals back, and Trump is doing all those things the best he can, with the whole rest of the government and many American people, brainwashed American people, fighting against him. The ACLU, Un-American Civil Liberties Union, and all these horrible people. The Southern Poverty Law Center, the ADL, Anti-Defamation League, which likes to defame decent Americans who are for what's right. Just a mess. But, you know, say all these things happen, we get what we all want. Close the borders, send the illegals back. Whites make babies and become a majority. We have to follow what Joel said and make decent babies, not beta babies. And I noticed that even among conservatives, the whites are such beta males. Like, especially those who think that we're about the quote-unquote truth. You'll hear people talking about truth, and they'll say stuff that's true statements, factual statements, but facts is not truth. And then they'll turn around, though, and lie and slander and backstab and just be horrible to people who are their friends and who've been loyal to them, who would never treat them that way. I've seen people do that to Jesse. It's just disgusting. And then they'll invoke Christ or Jesus. And it's such hypocrisy, but they're into outside knowledge, thinking that that's truth, rather than repenting, really. And so that's my little point about whites. I include myself in that. You know, I made this episode of the Hake Report about judging the judgers. Because you see people, you know, a lot of us who are fans of Jesse Lee Peterson and stuff, we see these fake people coming in like Pharisees and trying to attack Jesse and stuff like that. And then it's so easy to judge those people because they're just such obvious evil people. But then you become kind of like them when you're judging them. So you're not supposed to do that. And Jesse made a great point with one intellectual guy, who was talking about what he would do in some slave situation or whatever, running away and not telling. But he doesn't know what he would do, but he assumes, and that's a judgment about something that's totally irrelevant. But meanwhile, he's judging the whites for judging. And Jesse made you got to hear that. I'm sure that the producer will put that out, that conversation out. It was such an interesting conversation about judgment and assumption and stuff like that. And it was deeper than the guy realized. And maybe it'll hit him later. But that's the thing, is people don't really see the wisdom behind some of the simple points that Jesse and Trump and others make. So, by the way, I forgot to tell you, and I have a couple of more pictures about this Antifa guy, white guy, formerly white, now he's dead, who carried an illegal weapon and bombs and stuff and tried to bomb that ICE facility. It wasn't officially ICE, but it was a private facility for helping with the illegal aliens and migrants and wannabe refugees. So that this Antifa guy that I told you about yesterday, he was talking about his trans comrades and brown people and all that stuff. I forgot to make one more point about this guy. And I have a picture from his letter. Here it is. He's talking. Here it is in these corporate I mentioned this part, but I'm going to repeat it. Here it is in these corporate for-profit concentration camps. So he falls for the lie that it's concentration camps. NPC, non-player character. Not thinking for himself. Here it is in brown and non-conforming folks afraid to show their faces for fear of police/migra, which is La Migra, immigration enforcement. Proud Boys, another scapegoat. The Boss, Becky's, so he hates bosses and white women. Here it is, a planet almost used up by the market's greed. Another boogeyman, not his own. I am a black and white thinker. Detention camps are an abomination. I'm not standing by. I really shouldn't have to say any more than this. So this was his explanation/excuse for committing suicide by cop at a detention center by trying to blow open the place and blow up a propane tank and set a car on fire and stuff like that. Well, at the end of the letter, he talks about being armed. So here's the end of the letter. Look at this, if you're watching. He said, the semi-automatic weapon I used was a cheap, home-built, unregistered, quote-unquote, ghost AR-15. And we've heard about ghost guns from California politicians who are anti-gun. It's so ridiculous. But ghost guns are basically unregistered, like what he said, stuff that was manufactured at home. It had 6 magazines. I strongly encourage comrades, meaning fellow communists, and incoming comrades to arm themselves. We are now responsible for defending people from the predatory state, meaning defending illegal aliens from the police and the good people. Ignore the law in arming yourself if you have the luxury. I did. So he's telling people to disregard the law and arm up. Antifa. And Antifa people are out of control. This guy was more under control. He didn't want to kill anybody, apparently. Allegedly. He didn't want to kill anybody other than himself. But he had a weapon, an AR-15. So I guess he was prepared to kill people to whatever. He's dead. He's dumb. But there you have it. An Antifa communist for the Second Amendment, but for disregarding the laws, the unconstitutional laws, admittedly. But meanwhile, law-abiding gun owners are obeying these unconstitutional laws. They're not for breaking the law. But Antifa sure is. And by the way, somebody else pointed out in my Facebook page, the Hake Report Facebook page, that, I think his name was Chris, I forget for sure, but he pointed out that this guy's hero was John Brown, and John Brown, according to him, got a bunch of people killed trying to do a slave revolt thing. Many slaves didn't even cooperate with him. Stormed some boat or something. And was, I think he was convicted of murder, including of 3 blacks, if I remember correctly what this guy said. And he was the first person convicted of treason, and hanged. So there you go. Antifa's hero was the Antifa's hero in this guy's case, because this guy was Antifa who got himself killed. Do you have a picture of him? Show a picture of him. I think I have one. There was a guy, you know, that journalist who got that concussion or brain hemorrhage, Andy No. I think there's a picture of him, right? Yeah, there it is. So Andy No captured footage of this guy at an Antifa protest saying, "Fascists go home." But he wasn't saying "fascists go home." He at least he's 70 something, so he had a little bit of dignity. Way down in there. So this guy's hero was John Brown, and John Brown was the first Antifa who hated America, all in the fake name of opposing slavery. He murdered people, allegedly. Actually, he was convicted and hanged for it. So the first anti-American person is what this Antifa guy was about. And so Antifa is all about anti-America. And interestingly, the media loved him too. CNN did a piece about him because he was pro-Second Amendment, kind of. He would arm up in the name of Antifa. So he wasn't really pro-Second Amendment. He was just pro-gun, pro-revolution, pro-Nazi. I was about to say Nazi, pro-communist. By the way, before I get to the calls, I appreciate you calling. I had an Asian friend, you know about this go back to your country stuff? I had an Asian friend who was told by Mexicans when he was a kid, go back to your country. And it just reminds me that it's not just whites who are saying go back to your country. Everybody says this. And everybody is told this too, including whites are told to go back to Europe. Nobody likes anybody. And even the whites, like I was telling you earlier, don't get along or love each other. Even the whites that think that they're pro-white, they're anti-white. They're anti-truth. They're self-deceived. They're not even self-deceived. They're just deceived because it's not themselves that is deceiving themselves. Oh, by the way, real fast, let me just share this, and then I'll get to the calls. Trump tweeted. I have a couple of tweets from Trump. Trump tweeted, most of the MS-13 gang members, I have these tweets, Joel. Yeah, indicted and arrested in LA were illegal aliens. I reported about this story. 19 of 22 were illegal aliens, MS-13 gang members. They are said to have killed many people in the most brutal fashion, and I detailed some of that, very graphic. They should never have been allowed into our country for so long, 10 years. We have arrested and deported thousands of gang members, in particular MS-13. ICE and Border Patrol are doing a great job. Appreciated Donald Trump. And meanwhile, the Democrats want to, what do they want to do? They want to censure and impeach and condemn fake imaginary racist words that Trump said. So dumb. They're worried about words, and meanwhile, Trump is worried about actions. He's not worried, but he's dealing with the actions of these MS-13 people and illegal aliens and all these trash people that are coming into the country. Thank you, Democrats. Thank you, rhinos. Thank you, George W. Bush. Thank you, even Ronald Reagan, because he did that amnesty. He shouldn't have done it. Thank you, Bill Clinton. Thank you, Barack Obama. Thank you, all these sanctuary city mayors and legislators and governors. Filthy people. America is infested with anti-American people. It's a shame. Anyways, let me get to some calls. Joe, first-time caller out of Texas. Joe, how are you?
James.
Hey.
You're doing a great job. I love your show.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And happy White History Month.
Thank you. Happy White History Month to you as well.
Yeah. The thing that really concerns me that's happening in the world right now is our president, who's trying so hard to do the right thing, is being distracted by all those organizations you named, the ACLU and all those. Why can't, and I hope that he gets, well, I don't even hope, I know he's going to get 4 more years.
Yeah.
I hope serious things start happening, because if we look at Great Britain and we look at Germany and the things that are happening because they had open borders and let just anyone and everyone in.
Yeah.
They have they're trying to warn us, and we're just like so distracted. We're talking about,
Yep.
things that really, it's just so hard to, with all the things that I've read that's happening right now, it's like critical. We're like in a critical state, and it's going to start with our clinics and our hospitals.
Yeah.
That's where we're going to get hit the hardest, the fastest.
It's already happening. There, the poorer communities have already been dealing with that for decades, where these people are coming in and taking up, flooding into the emergency rooms and all that stuff. And one of my coworkers pointed out that the roads were empty on that day that Trump was supposed to do the raids, that Sunday, that Monday and all that.
Right.
He was supposed to do the immigration raids, and a lot of illegals stayed home. And it freed up a major, LA has a traffic problem.
Right.
And a lot of it is them. And so it's just pretty interesting. And you make such a good point.
I read an email yesterday from a nurse that's in Germany.
Yeah.
And in the clinics, because the clinics are throughout the cities.
Oh, yeah.
The clinics are where people usually go,
right.
unless you have to go to a hospital, and most of the time you don't. But people don't realize how brutal and I can't even think of the word. These people are. I'm talking mainly of Muslims, because they've let so many Muslims in. Now they've got their own police association. They've got housing associations.
Yeah.
And their beliefs don't coincide with, religious or, people that believe in God.
Including the secular ones, the liberal and the liberal ones.
But, we talk about people being afraid of black people.
Yeah.
We can multiply that by 100 when you talk about Muslims. Do you know have you heard of Tommy Robinson?
Yep.
That story, that is so scary because he didn't even say anything. But
right.
Just like you were saying, people believe, or I don't know if it was Jesse, but people believe what they hear because they don't know any better, and it makes sense to them.
Yeah, and you know what?
Whether it's true or not.
And it's whites who are shutting him down to their own destruction. This judge who's shut Tommy Robinson down and put him in jail and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
I don't believe he was a Muslim judge. I believe he was a white.
I think he was scared to death for his family, and he probably should be.
That's no excuse.
The journalists, and they're all corrupt, just like the United States is doing with our information.
You brought up how these other countries are a warning to us, South Africa too. But if you think about it, Canada's prime minister and the UK's prime minister, Theresa May, Justin Trudeau's the Canada one, the feminist, and they went after Trump for his tweets about these women, these Democrat congresswomen, sending them back because they hate America. But those people in Canada and the UK, though Canada and the UK are further along in the self-destruction than America is. And so they're ones to not be listened to. They're people to be disregarded.
That's the thing, too. People that see the truth and know the truth cannot be scared. This is not a time to be afraid of being called. You know what? And people have called me racist ever since I was really little, and I still believe what I believe.
Yeah.
I love all people, but I think that, just like you have a rainbow of all different colors, you want to keep those colors bright and strong. You don't want to mix them. And I've always said, you don't see a cow with a horse, you don't see a cat with a dog, and I know that's a stupid comparison, but there's nothing wrong with wanting to keep all of us our own races, because all together we make a great thing. A rainbow wouldn't even be a rainbow with just one color.
Yeah.
And I think that's what separates America, because we don't want to be one world. In the world that does want to be one world, we're standing in their way. We're the last thing that's standing in the way of joining this one world whatever mess.
It's irrelevant because it's about right and wrong. I appreciate it, Joe. Take care.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, thank you for calling. Take care.
Have a good day.
You too. Sean, out of Washington. Thanks for calling back, Sean. How are you?
Hey, good. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
I'm amazing. I'm not good. I'm amazing, right?
Wow. Oh, yeah. Correct.
Anyways, I wanted to say, I can never get through when Jesse's on.
Yeah.
I'm so busy.
That's what I'm here for.
And but it's because he's black. He's popular because he's black. You're white.
Right on.
So
White and a little more dry, a little less entertaining, but I'm still here.
hey, I have an idea for you.
Yeah.
For your show.
Go for it.
You know how Jesse does the White History Month?
Yeah.
Well, you could do celebrate the Patriarchy Pride Month.
Okay, so August will be Men's History Month. I don't know if you guys are aware of that. Men's History Month. We do have.
What you're doing already?
Yep, but just like the gays, the LGBTQIA plus, those guys have 2 months. They have Pride Month is in February, and then no, it was Pride Month was in June. Okay, and then they have in October LGBT History Month. So they have 2 months. So maybe we can do a Patriarchy Pride Month some other month.
Well,
I don't know. I'll think about it. Thank you.
Something for PR for your show, like even straight white fathers.
Yep.
Straight white father month,
That's what you are, huh?
Straight white father pride or something like that.
Yeah. I appreciate the idea, Sean. Thank you.
Yeah, because, I appreciate that you guys are already doing the White History Month. Might as well
Yep.
keep going with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Cool, man.
And you could pick it up with your show.
Yeah. Okay. Cool, man.
But I had that thought, but I did follow up with Jesse like you recommended,
Oh, good.
and I did. He called me.
Nice. Right on.
Yeah. So he told me keep doing the silent prayer, and everything is just going to get better and better.
Yeah. Stay on it, man.
So I'm doing that, and then I just wanted to say thank you for your encouragement and helping me learn more about not being the victim.
Cool. Right on, Sean. Yeah, it's a big temptation because whites, men, Christians are under attack, but that's no excuse to be defeated. It's so pathetic. It's just going to increase the attacks on us. And honestly, we deserve it when we become victims. So
Yeah, yesterday I was trying to tell some people that what Trump was saying about those four congresswomen
yeah.
was not racist. They were telling me it's racist,
Yep.
and I was trying to explain to them that nothing he said was racist.
Yeah. He's he'll attack anybody, and it's based on the truth.
And they started attacking me, telling me I was racist.
Right. It's just an anti-white slur. Calling somebody racist, especially a white guy, it's just a trick to hate. It's just an excuse to hate white people for being normal, being what everybody else is.
I don't really even believe in different races of human beings. I believe we're all the same race.
That's fair, whatever. But the point is like whites do tend to, especially American whites, Christians, tend to vote conservative, and they're the only ones. And conservatism, the real kind, not the rhino kind, is America, really. That's what the Constitution is. But they're not for the Constitution. They're not for Christianity. And that's part of why they hate white people. But I think whites are the most hated, regardless of whether they're Christians, regardless of whether they're men or women, because you saw that guy bashing Becky's, the Antifa white guy, bashing white women. And so it's just a mess. But it's fine. We got to be tough and bold and unapologetic, just like Trump is. Trump is not a victim; he's a victor. He won that battle, and he won the Charlottesville battle, even though his so-called popularity supposedly decreased. You know, the approval. When he stood up for the truth of what happened in Charlottesville, where there was violence on many sides and very fine people, or at least fine-intentioned people, on both sides. That was the truth. The media wanted him to lie about it and kiss up and apologize, and he wouldn't. And that's why I love him, because doesn't back down when he shouldn't back down. We've been so used to people backing down, apologizing, and that's such a disappointment.
Violence, though, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So that's what I was trying to tell the people here, you know,
Yeah.
about the Antifa.
Yeah.
Because they're not condemning the violence of that terrorist.
Yeah.
And it's a double standard.
Yep, they're anti-America. Maybe they don't realize it, but they are.
And then they just promote this hate. They're really promoting the hate, the racism and everything, you know?
Once you become bold and confident like Trump and like Jesse and that, you're going to be such a good influence in that area that it'll be nice to have truth cells scattered amongst the left coast.
It's hard to be one of the only people that's truth, you know.
Imagine how Trump feels. Even his own cabinet is against him and undermining him. He can't find good workers. Now, looking at Trump, I kind of know how Jesse feels.
I was thinking I think he was smart when he knew exactly what he was doing when he said that, telling them to go back. You know,
Yep.
He was trolling them.
Yeah, but he was trolling them with truth.
But look what happened.
Yeah.
It puts them in the front line. It puts them in the
spotlight, which is rightly so. And he made them all circle the wagons around him, as I've heard other people say. Sean, I got to go, man, but I appreciate your call. And I'm glad that things are looking up for you.
All right. All right, have a good day. Thank you.
All right. You too. Bye. Man, Dylan out of Iowa, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good, man. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
So, you know, there is kind of a disparity between blacks and whites. You know, like, you know, Jesse Lee Peterson likes to say, oh, well, I'm just black and slow. You know, and people say, oh, no, I disagree. You're great. You're good.
Yeah.
Now, if I do it as a white man, say, oh, I'm white and slow, it'd just be, yeah, I know.
Yeah, whites tend to be self-effacing, I think is the word for it. They like to make fun of ourselves, and sometimes that's a weakness. But it's acceptable to attack whites and make fun of them. Yeah. And whites really don't care, nor should they. But there is a point where you gotta stand up and tell the truth. So, yeah.
Yeah, and right now I'm seeing my community that I'm living in getting more and more blacks are moving in from Chicago, you know.
To Iowa? You can't really blame them. The crime is so out of control in Chicago. And they're a sanctuary city. It was from Rahm Emanuel, and now it's Lori Lightfoot, the lesbian, that was elected. And they're fleeing, and I don't blame them for fleeing to Iowa. I don't blame them for fleeing back to the South, fleeing these cities that are overrun with the illegals and immigrants and refugees. You gotta protect yourselves and go to where the opportunities are. And in some cases, that's back in the South. Say that again?
The immigrants come here from other countries. They're bringing their beliefs along with them.
Yeah, they're bringing the socialism and the, you know, they're not what's it called? Coming into our culture and joining into our culture and our civilization. They're bringing theirs. Yeah. Such a shame, because then they elect Democrats who pretend to have their best interests in mind, but they don't. And then they believe the lies about the whites who are there would be like quite decent and fair with them, but they don't give them a chance. But it's all right. We'll keep fighting and pushing, and some of them are waking up, so that's nice. I got a call from a Mexican immigrant a couple of days ago, and he always loved America, and he always appreciated white people. There's a lot of people that can see, and those are the people that are waking up too, because he still, even though he could see that point, he still had anger and stuff and was fighting with his coworker. And I put this out on my channel, Hake's channel. You can find that on YouTube. He was fighting with his coworker, and then later, after he started listening to Jesse, he got rid of his anger and forgave her. And then, even though she was still an angry person, he was able to deal with her. And that's such a nice report, because everybody can relate to a troublesome fellow human being that you're having to deal with. Coworker, friend, family member, boss, whatever. So, that's cool.
But now, Jake, James, you are white, so it makes me wonder why the implementation of that intro is taking so long.
The implementation of the intro. Oh, you're the one who sent me that intro. I have to dig it up and send that to Joel and have him, maybe I can have him play it. It's going to be another extra step. Joel already acts like he has to have like 8 hands in order to deal with those transitions, because it's a lot to do. But yeah, we'll make it happen. Thank you for the reminder, Dylan.
Yeah.
Cool. Happy White History Month to you.
Yeah, happy White History Month. Yeah.
My grandma's from Iowa. Nice place.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Cornfields. Flat. Very flat, I think.
Let me know when you come to visit her.
No, she's back here in Southern California. She moved from there to here years before I was born, before my dad was born, I think. But yeah. Cool, man. Iowa. Yeah. That's cool. All right, take care, man.
Yeah, you too, man.
Bye. John, out of Chicago. John, how are you?
How's it going, James?
Doing fine, thank you.
Did you catch any of that rally last night?
I caught just some quotes and a little bit of it. I really didn't. I was watching an old Sunday service from Bond or Building the Man YouTube channel from 2008 with some people for my birthday. We were premiering it on the Bond or Building the Man channel.
Happy belated birthday.
Thank you. So no, I didn't really catch the rally, but I heard it was great, and I love how there's so much love and so many people and so much energy at these Trump rallies.
Oh man, when they were chanting "Send her back," it was like the most amazing thing. I don't like chanting along with it. It was just an amazing.
I love that. People are shameless with the truth, and that is so nice to see again. That's why, I talked a little bit of negatively about whites, but whites and other races too. There are some bold, real people out there, and they know what Trump is about. They know he's right, and that's nice. They're not going to stop supporting him because they see that he's standing up for the truth. So that is so nice. Send her back.
Send her. Oh man. Oh god, that was amazing.
Yeah.
It's just real quick. So just a little, because I've heard it brought up a couple times today. This, the fake police brutality and colored people are targeted thing. I got pulled over last summer. I was driving, and it switched from like highway speed limit to like lower speed limit.
Yeah.
And I didn't see the sign, and I had my friend in the car with me, and he's like, "Oh, we just passed the cop." I'm like, "Sorry, we're on speed limit." He's like, "No, it changed." Anyway, I get pulled over. Cop comes up, white cop. He's like, "I pulled you over?" I was like, "Yep." He's like, okay. He took my information, came back a couple minutes later. He's like, all right, I'm just going to give you a break. Have a good time.
Whoa.
All right, thanks.
Nice.
It's totally common. There's no,
Right.
It's just insane. If I would have, I'm sure if I would have reacted like an asshole, like, oh man, you just pulled me over because I'm brown or something stupid like that, I'm sure he would have hit me with the book, which is understandable.
Yep. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and it's funny, who you see do that a lot is people in any position where they have any sort of, any little authority they have. If they're these like unhappy, bitter people, they'll abuse it to no end.
Yeah, definitely. You do see that a lot. That's so true.
But hey, I wanted to ask you a question, James.
Yeah.
Why are you not married, and why don't you have kids?
Number one, beta, maybe. Number two, I'm really into my work right now. Number three, beta. And yeah, I guess that's the only things that I can think of, because I can come up with a lot of excuses. Like I can come up with some stories about some of the women that I've dated lately, and by lately I mean in the past year, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, and thank God I didn't stay with any of them, but that's just a distraction from the real thing, because I have to, what Jesse talks about, where you have to be right and seek first the kingdom of God and all that stuff. I haven't really been doing that. I got into work after I got out of school eventually, and I just poured myself into work. And then I got into, Jesse stuff, church stuff, and all that. Became somewhat of a Bible thumper, a truth thumper. One of these people that's all about truth. And it wasn't real, though. I wasn't living it. And that turns a lot of people away. And even though a lot of people who are also not about truth get turned off by that, doesn't make me right. But there's a trick where you think, oh, people are just rejecting me because I'm about the truth. But that's a self-deception. I'm sure people can relate. But yeah, that's that.
Good. Let me give you some advice you didn't ask for, man. Find a girl who, it's better if she's a first-generation immigrant and came here like around, 5 to 12 years old max, because they'll most likely have good Catholic or Christian parents. And so they have a lot of those values in them, and even though they might be deceived and think they believe all the lies now, they're easier to bring back because they have that good base, and they're good people, good family, good God-fearing people, and it's that works for me.
I mean, Trump married an immigrant, right? But that was his third or fourth marriage. I don't know. I'll think about it. Thank you. I don't buy the notion that there's no good women or decent, halfway decent, or halfway decently raised women that were native to America, because look, there's like a whole lot of native-born Americans who are pro-Trump. They're Christians. They're even white, and I think that there's a whole lot of us who've been slightly brainwashed into the ways of the world because our parents didn't protect us properly, and so we got corrupted by our parents first, and then the world even worse, and our own selves and all that stuff. But I think that I'm not going to just look for immigrants. But I appreciate that advice. Thank you, man.
I hear you. And if you notice, it's more like, if you notice, all the wildebeest are Democrats, for women at least.
All the what?
Like, good-looking women tend to be Trump supporters, and the ugly
dogs
tend to be, everything bad.
Yeah, that's interesting. You might be right about that. There is,
or maybe I only pay attention to the good-looking ones. Anyway,
right.
I gotta go, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right, thank you for the call, man. That's nice.
Yep, bye.
Bye. Skip, out of Augusta, Georgia. Skip, how are you doing?
Hey, James, how you doing, man?
Fine, thank you.
Look at here.
All
The
right.
past few days, I've been hearing you say you had a little story or a little report or something about Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah.
You keep putting it off.
Uh-huh.
Are you going to tell us anything about what you think about or what's going on this week?
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it tomorrow morning, first thing. Tomorrow at 9 a.m. at the beginning of my show, I'm going to kick off with that because I know that people want to hear it. It's just really, I may look into it a little bit more since I'm saying that, but it's just something that I noticed about one of his accusers. And so I will present that tomorrow first thing. I don't want to do it right now because I have like less than 20 minutes left and a lot of callers to get to, and I'm committed to the callers first. One time I put my story first and then I missed out on callers, and I appreciate you guys, and so I want to do the callers first. But if I kick off with it at the beginning of the show tomorrow, then that'll give the callers have more opportunity to react later and stuff like that.
Okay, I guess I kind of understand what you're saying, but every day you keep saying, "Well, I got this story about Epstein, but I'm going to take callers first."
Yeah.
It's kind of like you're avoiding it, James.
No, it's that I have, so I deal with the news of the day, and I missed it last week because I kicked off with it. I kicked off with a little 10-second, 15-second clip of it, and then I said, I'm going to get to this, and then I never did because I guess people kind of make a good point that an hour is not enough. But, yeah, it's just that I'm going after the stuff that's fresh on my mind, and this is getting more and more stale. But I'll kick off with it tomorrow, and I'll come fresh and sharp and present it. I did touch on it a little bit. I mean, you called about it that day, I think, and we talked a little bit about it. It might have been the day before or 2 days before I played that little 10-second clip and then didn't touch on it again the rest of the show. But I'm not that interested because it doesn't have anything to do with anything really. And
You're
then
not that interested. How can you not be interested when the slave trafficking is going on? He's been tied to it, and you don't think that's important, James? You really don't think that's important?
well, if he's captured, then that's a good thing. Then that part of it's closed. Now we need to close the border and all that other stuff. I haven't really looked that much into it, but I'll deal with it a little bit more, Skip. I appreciate it.
All right, James. Have a good day, buddy.
All right, you as well. Take care.
All right.
Let's see. Chris, first-time caller out of California. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing fine. Thank you.
I just wanted to wish you a happy birthday, first of all.
Thank you.
For yesterday, I tried to call yesterday, and I couldn't get through. What I wanted to go back to is you were talking about interrelationships and stuff like that. I've been in an interrelation marriage for 21 years.
Yeah.
And some of the things I kind of disagree with you on.
Okay. Go for it.
I could say that again?
Go for it. List a couple of disagreements.
One of the things that I disagree about is what you were talking about not getting into one. What I feel is up to that person. When it involves in family and stuff like that, that's your decision with that person that you marry. With your family, it's up to you to choose whether you prefer your family or whether you prefer that person that you choose to marry.
Okay. I don't see how that disagrees with what I said exactly. But I did bring up the point. I did bring up the point that a lot of parents are unhappy when that happens. And that's among all races, by the way.
To you, I would agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Because on my side, it's like that, and on my wife's side, it's not. They accepted me with open arms. There's many different races in my wife's family. But, like, on my side, my mom and my family is not happy about it. And basically what I chose to do, I either made a decision in my family or my spouse, and I chose my spouse. And it's been a very wonderful marriage. Sure, it has its up and down like every marriage, but you know, it's been wonderful. She's a wonderful person. She's a great person. She's a loving person, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
All right. What about your dad? Did you hear anything from your dad, or is he in the picture?
Well, I was brought up by a single parent and stuff like that. And my dad left when I was very, very young.
What you think about the notion? What you think about the notion that it's kind of a rejection of your own parents to go for a different race?
You know what? It's my decision. It's not my parents' decision. If my parent loves me, like they say they do and stuff like that, anybody that I marry, then that's my choice. They're either going to accept it or they're not.
That wasn't my question. I'm trying to ask you, it's a rejection of, you're trying to, what do you think about the notion that people who do this, many of them, if not all of them, are trying to get away from their parents, rejecting their parents by going to another race?
I don't know if I believe in it. I mean, it's up to the person. I mean,
I didn't say it's not up to the person. I said, what do you think about the notion that they're rejecting their parents? It's a rejection of their parents.
The rejection of the parents? I mean,
no, that you say Chris, are trying to get away from your mother's race to get to another race, thinking that that's when it's going to be better.
When I met my wife and stuff, I wasn't even looking, and I wasn't looking at race and stuff like that. It's just the person that I didn't look at her skin color or anything like that. It's just the person that I fell in love with. So I don't look at it that way. I don't look at it as any rejection.
I think that it happens without. I think it happens without you knowing it.
I would disagree with you a little bit like that, because I've dated white women. I've dated Spanish women. I've never really dated black, but I think it's up to the individual and how they feel about that person. Most people, well, I can't say most people, but with me, I feel it's up to the individual. I don't look at race. It's up to that person and how they feel about that person. Then if you decide to look at race, then you decide to look at race. I don't think it has anything to do with race. It's who you fall in love with.
I think it's more normal to stick with race, to stick with the same race.
Oh, I value your opinion and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I would respectfully disagree with it.
But isn't it more normal to stick with your own race?
I don't see it that way. I mean, you say it's normal. Like I said, I would respectfully disagree with you because I don't see it that way. I don't look at race. I don't look at a person. Okay, for instance, you're black or you're this.
And are you white? Are you white?
Yeah, I'm white.
Yeah. Interesting.
I don't think it's rejecting my mom. I don't think it's rejecting white people as a whole either. It's just the person that I fell in love with.
Yeah, I don't like that term "fell in love with," but that's cool, man. I'm not saying that it's I'm not saying that it's not up to the individual. That's fine.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah. I just think that I just think that this whole thing is nothing to be celebrated. Because you may not be pushing interracial marriage, but there are people pushing interracial stuff and diversity.
I don't agree with pushing yourself.
Yeah, because that's a shallow thing to be like, oh,
well, that's a shallow
wonderful
person and stuff like that. I don't agree with that. I agree.
That's evil.
You shouldn't just go look because it's another race or something like that. That you should just go, okay, I'm going to marry that person because it's a race. I highly disagree with it.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, I hope you have 79 more good years with that woman.
I thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I started listening to you through I forget his name, the gentleman from this morning. I started listening to you a couple weeks ago, and I do agree with a lot what you had said, but this topic kind of got my goat, and it's not even how I felt.
It's not even something I feel really strongly about. Like you, I've dated other races too. And you can't really help your attractions or perversions or whatever you want to call it.
But if you would, another tangent, if you would talk about the LGBTQ community, I don't agree with that either.
You don't.
I don't believe in gay marriage or anything like that.
Yeah. That's. I agree with you on that, and I think that they can't help their perversions either. But they gotta recognize that it's wrong. I mean, they should.
The thing is I was just in a situation like that last week.
What situation like that?
What happened is I was talking to somebody about it, and I told them that I don't agree with it. I told them it's their choice if they want to go do it. I don't care what they do. I just don't agree with it. And boy, I got jumped on, cussed out, everything.
Yep. Yeah, they're vicious, and in fact, the straight people who support it are so vicious and self-righteous. I've had friends that want to cut me off. They have cut me off over just the fact that I say that it's not anything to be proud of that you support something that's wrong and bad for the person. You're actually hurting the person, but they don't want to face that reality.
Well, the way I see it, I don't care if you're heterosexual or gay. What you do in the bedroom, that's your business and stuff like that. I don't agree with it. I don't condone it.
Yep.
So I just wish people that do agree would value my opinion like I value theirs. They can do
right.
all they want. It's just not my choice. It's not the way that I would live my life and stuff. And I don't feel anybody should have to, their opinion should be valued just like anybody else's. You do it, that's fine. That's your business.
Yeah.
Don't jump on me for my opinion about it.
They're becoming kind of like Antifa. I appreciate it, Chris, man.
Yeah, okay, you take care. God bless, and I appreciate you taking my call.
All right. Yeah, thank you for calling. Take care.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Carson, first-time caller out of Texas. How are you?
Doing well, man. How are you?
Doing fine, thank you.
I just wanted to touch on a couple subjects like the immigration thing and the interracial relationship thing and everything like that.
Yeah.
The wall, the $2.5 billion, that's less than 1% of our national budget.
Yeah, seriously.
And it would easily take care of at least 40 to 50% of the illegal immigration that's happening.
Yep.
The other percent of the illegal immigration is people overstaying their visas.
Right, and we can deal with that too.
The way to take care of that is having ICE raid, deportation.
Yep.
Yeah. Mass deportation. And the thing is that people want to talk about sympathy for illegal immigrants. They live in the shadow of illegality.
Right.
They live 15 people in a 1 to 2 bedroom house. They have to work the third shift. They work less than minimum wage.
And they complain about divided families. Their whole family is not together. And these people are having children out of wedlock like crazy. They have more children out of wedlock than anybody.
Right, because
these Hispanics
they don't get to exactly. They don't get to receive any of the legal benefits being a citizen.
Yep.
Like getting to exist and everything like that. They have to, like I said, they have to live in the shadows of illegality, work the third shift, less than minimum wage.
By definition, they don't support the law.
Oh, I mean, like the whole genesis of their operation in the country is breaking the law. And people say crossing the border illegally is a misdemeanor, but we don't offer day passes and week passes to the United States. So it's like, they commit an initial misdemeanor, but then they go on to do a lifetime of other crimes.
And many of them have been deported, and if you've been deported and you come back, then it's a felony.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
So anyway.
and as far as interracial relationships and marriages and things like that, it might seem like you're following your heart by following but you have to think.
You're breaking up, Carson. You're breaking up, Carson. Come back to your phone.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can kind of hear you.
Okay. Well, people that say that they're following a different race, like a moral thing.
Carson, you're really breaking up, man. I'm gonna have to get back to you, or call back tomorrow. But you're making a good point, I think. These people that think that they're following their heart by getting into these relationships, they're this whole getting together with a woman, it's not about the heart. It's not about love. It's just about making a family, and then you can learn to love each other. But you're not loving each other in reality, especially when you're first getting married. Mark out of San Diego, California. How are you?
Hey, James, how are you?
Fine, thank you. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, I wanted to call about White History Month, but I have to comment on what you guys are talking about right now.
Okay.
I was talking to Dan. He was a guest on your show.
Yeah.
And we're talking about homosexuality, and I just kept asking him what's good about it.
Yeah.
And the only thing he could say is people should be able to love whoever they want to love. And just like you, I repeated, 10 times. I'm not asking you if you think people should be able to love who they should want to love. Yep. And he just could not answer the question. I told him they have a higher rate of STDs, they have a higher rate of domestic abuse, they have a higher rate of divorce, they have a higher rate of all these terrible things.
Yeah.
Suicide. Why would you encourage that?
Yep.
And he just kept saying, I think people should be allowed to love whoever they want to love. Like a robot. Like he could not answer anything else.
It's such a shame that people aren't willing to think deeper than that's what Jesse tries to break that too with people.
I think it's cool the logic I've learned from you and Jesse to be able to talk that way because it just exposes it.
Yeah. Yeah, it is really nice because then it gives him an opportunity to maybe someday he'll question it. He'll realize, he'll be like, oh my gosh, he was right.
I always use the analogy of the stoplight. Like somebody will be at a stoplight and be like, he was right.
Yep. Yeah.
But I wanted to go on to what Nick was talking about from essentially Mexicans benefiting from white people.
Okay.
And about the Mexican-American War. The troops had captured Mexico City. You know how everyone says the United States stole Mexico?
Yeah. Stole California. And Arizona.
Right. So by the end of the Mexican-American War, the American flag flew over Mexico City for 9 months. The whole country was in possession of the United States.
Wow.
So from one perspective, the U.S. took half of Mexico, but from another, it returned half of Mexico, which it could have kept for itself.
Yep. Man, that's a good point. Yep.
And according to the Treaty of Guadalupe, the people who were previously Mexican were now full American citizens. They didn't have to apply. They didn't have to qualify. They had all kinds of rights now, including property rights, which they didn't have before.
Yeah.
They had it better than the American Indians. They got it better than the blacks. This was historically unique, the way they all got it.
Yeah.
And a lot happened. But the bottom line is the vast majority of Mexicans that ended up on the American side of the border following the Mexican-American War never attempted to return to Mexico, and neither have their descendants.
Yeah.
That is not theft.
Yep, that's so true. That they've been treated more than fairly. Wow.
Yeah, and look at all these people coming across illegally now. If they were actually logical about it, they would think the U.S. should have kept all of Mexico, and we wouldn't have to do this.
Yeah. Yep. You know, people have accused whites of being colonizers, and these people are colonizers. They're just doing back worse than what was supposedly done to their ancestors, which wasn't even truly done to their ancestors. And it's just like what's happening in South Africa.
The taxpayer's the slave. We work, you eat.
Yep.
Right? That's the definition.
Yeah. You know, there's a big minority, a bigger minority among the Hispanics of Mexicans who really love America, or, you know, the descendants that really love America.
Yeah, I really know quite a few of them, actually. Yeah.
It's nice. I hope that they can continue to, maybe they can help us celebrate White History Month.
Yeah, and being raised in my home, people didn't say love white people, appreciate the country, the Constitution, but they just didn't hate them.
Right.
You know?
Yep. It didn't even matter.
They believed in hard work, which was all this was Mexican culture.
Yeah.
In my lifetime, in the 80s.
Yeah.
There was not welfare. There was not all this crazy stuff. Cesar Chavez was all about getting the illegals out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
The big union guy. Yep.
Yeah. So I grew up in a completely different, attitude towards America, illegal, crime, lazy, I'm a victim, racism. All this nonsense was not around.
That's why, when people bring up the fact that the Democrats started the KKK and all that stuff, it's kind of irrelevant to me because you look at the Democrats 20 years ago to the point of today, they've only gotten worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, pretended to be nice. They went from being open enemies of people, Republicans and
I
everybody.
like to talk mostly about things I've seen in my lifetime.
Yeah,
And,
me too.
I can tell you before
Then
Obama, race wasn't that big of a deal.
Right.
I was there.
Yep.
You can't tell me that I'm making that up or I'm misreading history. I was there.
Right.
You
You're
know?
so right,
and
man.
we're all here now.
Yep.
See what it is now.
Yeah. That's why, the people that are all into history, they can't interpret the present times. And they don't know themselves, like Jesse urges us all to know ourselves. And that is the most important thing for changing the world. All right, Mark, nice to hear from you, man.
Thank you. Happy White History Month.
Thank you. Happy White History Month to you as well. Take care.
All right. Bye.
All right. Steven, Carson, Bruna. Carson, man, I think I was with you, but I'm sorry about that. I cannot get back to you guys. Call tomorrow. I'll be back on the Hake Report. It is Get It Off Your Chest Friday on the Jesse Lee Peterson Show tomorrow. Go to jlptalk.com. You'll find info there. Remember, ladies, Women's Forum tonight, 7 p.m. at Bond in Los Angeles. Rebuildingtheman.com/events or 800-411-BOND, 800-411-2663. That's where you can order books, donate, get some counseling, request counseling, all that stuff. Thanks, guys. Take care. I went the whole show avoiding talking about blacks. I talked around them, but I'm going to try to do it to get a donation. Yeah, plus, it's a nice challenge. You know, it's white.